Were you earning more before in your time when you were working, or you're earning more with the business? Just
Technology pays kind of the best. I've been to a total of 56 countries.
so, would you advise women specifically in
Yep.
today's world to travel solo, and at what age should they start? What are blue zones, and have you been to one?
The blue zones are the five places on Earth where people live the longest.
Oh, namaste, Christy, and
Namaste.
welcome to Travel Stories by Patient Wanderer, where I will be telling your stories through my eyes. So,
Thank you.
how are you doing today? That's my first thing that I always ask to people.
I'm terrific. I'm terrific. It's a beautiful day here in Portugal, and
Mhm.
all is well. Yeah, I'm so excited to speak with you. This is one of my favorite
Well,
topics ever.
and I like your background, the sunshine, and the sunshine you're getting in Portugal. I do have some sunshine, but I'm just closed curtains for recording purposes. But yeah, so straight away, who are you? Who is Christy Miller? Give me, like, where were you born? You brought up, and how's your life been?
So I'm a U.S. citizen. I currently live in Portugal. I was born in the city of Seattle, which, as most people know, is a big technology, city, community, all that. And I
Mhm.
worked in high tech for many years, before 30 plus years. But I had a counseling background, working with youth and swimming, coaching swimming. So since I retired 5 years ago, I moved to a tiny village called Porto Covo, Portugal, in
Mhm.
south of Lisbon. I live in the middle of 30 acres of cork oak trees in a small traditional house painted white and blue, as you can see from the background.
Yep.
And I have a 4 cabins. I can house up to 10 people. I have a big outdoor kitchen where I cook for my guests, and I welcome people from all over the world. I've had visitors here. It's called the Mermaid Retreat. The reason I reference the swimming is because I swam. I swim.
I always had this in mind. Why the name Morbid Retreat? So uh, that defines your. Do you want to talk a little more about your swimming career? Because we have spoken about that. Your swimming career has taken you to a lot of places in your life, I think. Yeah,
Yep.
if you want to speak a little bit about that.
Okay. So in university, my father was a lifeguard, and that was, that was in the late 40s. My parents got married in 1950, just to give you a little, yeah,
I,
Seattle water, all that. So I grew up swimming. I started swimming competitively when I was 6 years old. I
Mhm.
stopped swimming when I was 42 because my shoulders, they were done. Um, and I played water polo as well competitively. And that's, I've had an opportunity to do swim and play water polo throughout the US, throughout Canada, Mexico, Japan, France, uh, Netherlands, Spain, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I mean, I've
Right.
played against the Turkish Olympic water polo players on their masters team, even at international competitions. So
Is it your health that was a constraint there? Just sporting career is.
too many injuries, shoulders and knees. I mean, I'm 67 now. I just got back from India about a month ago. Before then, the previous month I was in Jordan riding horses in Petra and climbing up and down the mountains and the hills. So now I'm in pretty good shape. I was Bollywood dancing with my bangles. I was Bollywood dancing at my friend's wedding in Bangalore in March.
Well, were you earning more before in your time when you were working, or you're earning more with the business? Just that figure.
Well, yes.
Right.
I,
Okay.
I was a pretty senior person, director, and very senior individual contributor when I
Hmm.
worked in the U.S. and high tech. And as we know, technology pays kind of the best. I don't
Yep.
know, a lot.
Hmm.
And now it's I mean, I can buy groceries, I can buy gas, and I can buy the occasional plane ticket. So I'm okay. But no, my life was very different.
All right. Well, you would say that you were more happier in that time with more money, or you're more happier now with the lifestyle that you've got?
Oh, no. I wouldn't trade it for all the dollars in Google. I mean, no.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I get that. That answers me actually. Does age matter there, Kirsty? Are you
Yeah.
more happier in that regards now that you've come across your life, and now you're at a place where you're more happier? 30 acres is a big area, I think, with your own. Uh, do you do farming there? Like, you were saying something like that? Do you grow something there?
Well, yes. So cork trees, they grow themselves. These trees are hundreds of years old. Some of them are just babies. They're only 50. So their roots go very deep. I don't need to do anything. Every 9 years, the cork is harvested and
Hmm.
used for, shoes, purses, flooring, insulation, sound things, and bottles of wine. So it's
So
it's a,
what are the trees that you were mentioning, just for the audience as well? So
they're a type of oak tree that
right,
grows a bark that's thick cork. And
right.
every 9 years, so 9 years, each tree can be harvested for the cork. And they don't take it all the way up to the little branches. It's just the main trunk. And
Right. Okay.
and you can there's YouTube videos of cork harvest, and in Spain and Portugal. Portugal and Spain are the two only real producers. Australia has a little tiny bit of cork, but it's not very good quality. Their
Right.
climate's not right. But anyway, point being, yes, but then I also grow. I have a big garden. I have lots of vegetables, a million tomatoes. I have
Oh.
like a million tomatoes. They just show up everywhere because I compost, and then they show up, in the flower bed. Like, oh, look, there's tomatoes in the flower bed. But also, I have 30 orange trees. So lots and lots of oranges, lots and lots of juice. I also make ice cream, cake, salads, all the things with the
That
oranges.
my criteria would be, that's the rich life that a person can get, to be honest, to be more closer to nature. And how would you define travel, and what does it mean to you? In other words, like, what inspires you to travel, and how much do you travel? How many countries have you traveled in past? So if you can relate the question in that regards.
So the first time I left the United States, I think I was 3, based on the
Right.
photos. My grandmother took me on the Queen Mary, a ship called the Queen Mary, from Seattle to Canada, to Vancouver Island, city of Victoria, which is very European. It's a very British looking city. It's lovely, lots of flowers, and on the ocean, blah blah blah. So really great. And we stayed in this fancy hotel, the Empress Hotel, and I had high tea because there's
Right.
photos. I don't really remember all the details of this, but there's photos.
Yeah.
And then when I was 4 and change, not quite 4.5, my family, my parents, and my one brother and I took a trip to Mexico. So
Mhm.
still in North America. I mean, I haven't left. So to Mazatlan, Mexico. So that was in 1960, February 1960. We were there for Carnival. And that
Mhm.
was very unusual for a normal middle class family. I did not grow up in a wealthy family. Um, we didn't have servants, and my dad, we owned a grocery store with specialty foods for
Yeah.
perspective, not wealthy. And my grandparents had apple orchards in Eastern Washington, and they had these men who came up and worked in the orchards and went back to Mexico, and that inspired them to come visit. So they did in 1959. Then in 1960, they said, "You guys got to come." So we did. And before I knew it, I had another brother out of that trip, but also naturally, not, I mean, like, my parents, but also I swam in the ocean and I swam in the pool, and I'm swimming up and down the pool, and I'm not even 4.5. And people are like, "This kid's a mermaid, she's a dolphin. What's up with that?" But also, it's like, I need to go places. I mean, that was what I got out of that at age 4.
Parents decide most of the things for a person of 4 years old, but you were building your head thought that you can do something like traveling, building yourself inside. So how many countries did you travel in, just rough figure?
So the next country I visited was Japan in 1972, when I was 16 going on 17. And counting that, parents funded, everything else has been funded by, me. I've been to a total of 56 countries.
So how much do you spend on travel annually then? Just a rough figure.
Oh, well, okay. So, okay.
Let's do the comparison, like pre-COVID or pre-moving to Portugal. So how much do you used to spend, and now how much do you spend?
Well, okay. So I spent way more money on travel than I did on anything else, like clothes or even cars. I've always had like older or classic cars. I've only had one new car in my life, and I had that for 19 years. So,
well, yeah. Which one was that?
It's a Sable. It's a Mercury Sable, which was like a Ford something. Anyway, it had a nice big engine, so I could go on big road trips up to Canada.
Right. That's nice. Yeah.
But there's no way I spent less than $10,000 a year on travel. I mean, at least 10,000. And most of that's on airfare, because I don't stay at fancy hotels. I was an AirBNB super host. So I also did a lot of Airbnb. And then, when you host people, you meet them, and then they're from their country, and then you go visit them because they say, "You have to come visit." So
yes,
there
definitely.
I am in Indonesia, not paying for a hotel for 3 weeks, because they're like, "Oh no, we'll stay here." And then this other friend wants us to come there. And so it's
yeah. And
yes.
and would you say that it's a better way of visiting a country if you have made that network of people around you, and you go and you meet the local people? Is that what you would prefer to do in your traveling experiences, right?
Yes, absolutely. Which is okay. So the reason I became a host with Airbnb, and this is 13 years ago, something like that, because I did it for 8 or 9 years, I forget. And I've been here for going on 5, so something like that.
Right.
So it was very early on, and it was because I love hosting people. It's my thing, I cook. I'm a good cook. I'm not a Michelin star chef, but I'm a good cook, and I'm confident. I'm a confident cook. So, and I'm confident in hosting people in my home, because I've always had people come.
Yeah. Do you cook for people who come to you in your cabins these days?
Yes.
You cook or do you have a full? Let's ask you like that. Do you have a full blown staff for your cabins, or is it like you only, or who handles your? Definitely, kitchen is handled by you. I can see that. But
yes, the kitchen's handled by me, and most of the cleanup for that is handled by me. But I have a one woman who works for me. She's also a very good friend, Sylvia. She's originally from Germany, but she's been here in Portugal 5 years, and she works for me 3 days a week, and more if need be, but pretty much 3 days a week. And she does a whole lot of the weeding and gardening, and I have a watering system, but any of hand watering that I don't get to, she does. I do all the laundry. I do all the shopping. I do all the communicating and planning and organizing and that sort of thing. Balancing the books, my least favorite activity. And then, yes. So, and then when I have a need, I have carpenters I can call and they'll come a running. And I also have a handyman, if you will, who's also a very, very knowledgeable in permaculture. He actually has a master's degree in that field.
Yeah, that's good to have a handyman like that. They can do a lot
Yes.
of stuff if you need be. Just coming back to your swimming career, like you
Yeah.
said, you had like uh, from year 6 to 42, and
Yeah.
that is
36 years.
yeah 36 years. And do you miss it? Do you miss now anything that you
Oh,
or after just 42 that you thought you want to retire? And would you go back if given a chance?
would I go back? Like if my shoulders were really happy, I would play water polo. I wouldn't swim because like going up
Right.
and down a pool, let me tell you, that's a little boring. It's and I don't really enjoy open water swims. I've done them. They're okay, but I'm a sprinter, I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I host and I'm not a landlord because that's long term. I'm a short term person. So
Right. So
yeah.
do you weigh like your water sports playing polo is was more in terms of competitive than your swimming career?
It's interactive. You talk to people when you swim, your face is in the water, your ears
Yeah.
are in the water. You don't know anything that's going on. And, somebody's got to conk you over the head to get your attention because your
True.
goggles, whatever. But
Yeah.
water polo, you're a team. It's like playing rugby in a pool or basketball because you go down the court, if you will, which is the pool, and then you shoot on goal.
What's your favorite traveling destination? Let's just go on their
Oh,
traveling destination side now. What's your
so
favorite traveling destination?
well, most recently, of course, it was India because I was just there and had a fabulous time. Got to see all my friends and friends who are family and that I've known for many, many years. So that
Bollywood, definitely Bollywood dance.
Bollywood dancing, yes. So yeah, it's so interesting, that story. That's a whole story. Anyway, I've also really enjoyed Turkey, Jordan, of
Mhm.
course. I have very good friends there. We go horseback riding and all the things and camping and the Red Sea is beautiful for swimming and snorkeling, and the Dead Sea is just so cool because like you can't sink.
Mhm.
So really like places with beautiful ocean beaches and great, just
Yeah,
rich history. So yeah,
true.
that's what I like. And the people,
Yeah.
like you said, it's the people, the culture. It's being with my friends. I went to Greece a bunch of years ago, 20 whatever years ago now, with two friends, and one of my friends, we rented mopeds and she crashed.
Oh,
Um, and skinned her knee. She skinned her knees. She was
all
fine,
right.
you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
But she had so we're in this little village, and so we go to the first cafe, and the woman says, "Oh, let me help you with that." And then this little old man comes by, and he's like, "Oh, you need better than this. Come to my house." So we go to his house, and his wife is there, and she's giving us grape juice, and and they don't speak any English, and we speak no Greek, and but they had an experience with three American women who looked completely different one from the other. It was blonde, a redhead, and me, and then,
Well, you're not American to them then.
yeah, I'm yes, exactly. So
Uh,
we just, I mean, I still remember it. I could tell you what their house looked like and their furniture, their tiny little furniture in their tiny little house. It was just the
that's
sweetest thing.
nice.
Most wonderful people. No idea what they were saying, but it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the hospitality that resonates back. I think it's more than the language barrier, I would say. Even if you go travel and you don't know the language, but some countries do, like people are I think in all the countries, people are hospitable. It's just the right set of people that you meet in life, and you just travel with them, network with them. Just coming to another one, which is interesting. So your worst traveling destination and why? Is there any incident that is related to it you would like
Oh,
to speak about?
well, my worst traveling experiences, multiple, are in Heathrow Airport with British Air. Just, you got to be kidding me. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Uh, I would swim. I will swim across the English Channel, not to have to go through
Right.
Heathrow.
Is there anything
Period.
anything specific that that happened to you at Heathrow?
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely. Well, the first time that I was actually going to India, which was in '06 for a wedding, I was traveling with the groom, who's Indian,
Mhm.
and we were supposed to go to Bangalore. And after having to go through security 3 times, uh,
Right.
and because our original flight was late, 3 hours late, we had like 5 hours. Anyway, point being, we get there and they say, "Oh no, we're closing the doors now." They were not closed. They were not closed. And we're like, "No,
Right.
no, no." And
Open
they're
us,
not
open
closed
for
yet.
us.
Like, "Oh, but we are closing. Too bad, you're too slow." It's like, "No, your flight was 3 hours late." And they weren't
Yeah.
listening. They were not hearing this. And we were wrong. We were wrong. And they said, you should have done these things.
Uh-huh.
It's like, no,
Right.
no. But it didn't happen just one time. Oh, so then they sent us to Delhi. And if,
Right.
a little geography tells you that's nowhere near Bangalore.
Yeah, true. Well, well,
They tried to convince us it's the same country, so it's okay. It's,
hopefully we can write some feedback on that later into the Heathrow
oh, we
website.
did.
Oh, you
Oh,
did
oh,
already. All
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I've had other things, other
Yeah,
things
true.
at
Yeah,
Heathrow,
yeah.
100%. But I have really great travel karma. I have terrific travel karma. My luggage shows up, maybe tomorrow, but it always shows up. It's always fine. The weather's decent.
I think the travel, the karma comes by like it's in synergy. If you're traveling a lot and it just comes back to you, and it's just like a not always smooth, like you said, but it's always happening. So it doesn't stop and it always goes on. So
Oh,
would you advise women specifically in
yeah.
today's world to travel solo? And at what age should they start, or should they never travel solo?
Aha. Solo traveling. So there was a time when I might have said, go on someplace pretty exotic where the language is not spoke. Your language is not spoken there. You don't have a common communication medium.
Mhm.
There may have been a time when that might have been a thing, a concern. And I don't see that anymore. And I go to very rural places, when I was in Thailand. Yeah, okay, so we went to Bangkok and we went to, Koh Samui and the places people go. But we
Yeah.
also were way out in the middle of the jungle, spelunking, looking at, bat caves with, a little river that goes through the caves and, all this stuff,
All
crazy
right.
stuff by some
Yeah.
people's understanding. And it was fine.
Yeah. All right. What age would you say, like 18, 20, 25 in today's world, women can travel solo? Is it safe to travel for I think for you, you're saying it is okay, but do you know,
Oh,
like
right.
countries like India, and people are a little bit shy and conservative to let their daughters, for example, I've got
Yes.
families, are they like still open to make like people go solo traveling for their women? I doubt that in a lot of parts of the world. What do you think about it?
So yes, in for example, India, regardless of religious backgrounds,
Hmm.
but also very much in the Muslim world, we take very close care of our
Hmm.
daughters. as we should, and our wives and our sisters, as we should. Absolutely. I was raised in a fairly strict family regarding behaviors, but no one was protecting me. I'll tell you that right now, right now, versus the kind of culture you're referring to.
Right. Okay.
But so for young women to travel all by themselves, to travel versus, for example, someone who's going to a different country for university to go and be in a place, that's different. But to travel, bring a friend, bring a sister, bring a cousin, bring an aunt, bring a friend that's that knows the family well. Also reach out and meet people in advance. We're all online. I mean, everyone who's watching this is online. Yes.
Yeah, it should be online. Yeah.
Yes. So there's organizations, there's associations. And if I were coming from India to Europe, would I want to hang out with Indian friends? I would prefer to hang out with the people who are native to that country. Just like when I go to India, I don't hang out with American and English people or whatever. You know,
nice thought. Yeah.
I'm the one non-Indian in the crowd, and that's how I like it. So, but it's totally possible for women. You know, once say you're past university and you have some life experience, and you can kind of see, like if you go to a party, you can kind of see where the energy is heading, or there's too many whispers in the corner, or something doesn't feel quite right, to remove yourself. Once you've got those instincts going and you trust them and believe in them, and you know when to leave,
yeah, true.
then you're totally good to travel.
So I remember the first time we spoke, it would be good for the audience to know, so what are blue zones, and have you been to one, and what difference would you say that people can feel if they go to a blue zone? Because I remember we spoke about it. So what's your take on it?
So the blue zones are the five places on Earth where people live the longest and the healthiest. And one of them
is that really the case? I would like to stop you. Is that really the case? Like they live longer there?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they have people who live very long, healthy lives because the food is pure, the air is pure, the water is clean, as well as they have an active lifestyle. Not necessarily doing sport, not necessarily running and jumping and getting all crazy, but every single day. And it's true here in Portugal, which is not in the blue zones, but it would be number 6. Portugal,
right. Have you been to any blue zones though?
Yes, I have. I've been to all 5 of the countries. I haven't exactly visited all of the towns. I've visited 2 of the towns. One of them is in San Diego. It's but it's very specifically a Christian community that is vegetarian. So San Diego is a pretty clean city, on the ocean. You can get very fresh fruits and vegetables and things. It's a healthy city in general, but there's a Seventh-day Adventist community, and they're also very health conscious. Lots of doctors and nurses and medical care people in the community. It's their emphasis. Yes.
Yeah, good to know about the blue zones.
Yes, place in Japan, Italy, Greece, mountain villages in Italy and Greece, and then a place in Costa Rica. And so that's where I've also visited, the place specifically in Costa Rica.
But would you choose one of the places to live?
So I was looking at those as a place to live. And the one at the time I had not visited was Costa Rica. So I went there and it was fine. But then it's like, the politics are good, but there's a lot of prejudice. As well as in 1 year, exactly 12 months, the cost of everything increased by 20%, which is not good for a retired person.
True.
Yeah. So I went home and Googled what would number 6 be if there were a number 6, and it was Portugal.
Yeah, and you are there.
And I'm here. Yes.